This is my rotation reflection for engineering and outpatient PT. I had engineering on January 6th and outpatient PT on January 8th. So the engineering department is located at Ellis Medicine's McClellan Street campus in Schenectady, New York. The department is in charge of controlling the heating, cooling, air circulation, plumbing, and electrical aspects of Ellis. The department is made up of plumbers, electricians, engineers, and general engineers. So the way that engineering interacts with other departments is if they have a trouble with lighting, a trouble with plumbing, a trouble with heating, the plumbers, electricians, engineers will see to that problem and they will hopefully fix it. Also, waste in the dental systems go into disposal systems, which are taken care of by the engineers and the plumbers and electricians, and also the boiler heat that's produced in the boilers that is controlled by engineers is used to heat the ovens in the kitchen. Outpatient physical therapy is located at Ellis Medicine's Knott Street campus in Schenectady, New York. Their main goal is to assess patients to see if they need to be discharged or if they need to have a further stay. They assess their physical health, their mobility, their adaptations to post-op surgeries or different neurological issues. The team is made up of physical therapists and occupational therapists. They don't have their own separate department and floor where the patients come to be treated. They go to different floors themselves and treat patients in their own rooms. So like they'll go to the neuro floor, like the PT that I followed. They'll go to cardiac floors. And so on my engineering rotation, I met an electrician and he showed me around the hospital. He showed me the boiler room. There's 3 large boilers in there, and there's also hot water tanks. One of the boilers is actually new and costs $500,000. He showed me the pipe work that goes all around the hospital to deliver hot water and heat throughout the hospital to different departments. He showed me the backup generator, which gives electricity in case the power goes out. He also brought me to the roof where the cell towers were. He showed me the electrical room with all the electrical panels for all the different departments and the breakers. He showed me the 5th floor, which has elevator pulleys. Sometimes the ropes get frayed and the engineering department needs to see to that. He also showed me the old crematorium in the basement, and he showed me the mechanical room. For inpatient physical therapy, I followed a physical therapist who specialized in neuro. So we went to the neuro floor, and during the morning they do rounds every single morning, and this took up about an hour and a half of the rotation. Rounds is where all the PAs, nurses, case managers, doctors, physical therapists, occupational therapists get together and discuss patient their outlook, their medications, how they're doing, just to make sure everybody's on the same page. So that took up most of our time, but then at the end I did get to observe one older lady get treated by the physical therapist I was shadowing. The physical therapist explained to me that this woman had a small brain bleed, but it was very small. It was like the pinpoint of like a pencil, so it was very minimal, but you could tell that she had some effects from it. So they got her out of bed, they put a gait belt on her and held it while she walked around the department, and the physical therapist looked at her gait, her pace, her step width and length, her coordination, if she could, maneuver around different things in the hallways. Then after we did 2 laps around the department, we went upstairs, we went up and down. The lady was successful. She didn't have any issues. And then after that, the occupational therapist took over, and she watched to see if the older woman could go to the bathroom successfully, walk herself to the bathroom, open the door, everything was fine, and she did it successfully. After that, they sat down, both the occupational therapist and the physical therapist, and talked to the woman about their living situation and how many steps in her house, if it was a one-floor house, everything. And at the end of the day, they decided that she could be discharged. For advancements in the engineering department, boilers are now more thermal efficient. They are easier to operate and more durable. Heating and cooling efficiency is maximized by variable speed air handles that are located on the boilers. For advancements in physical therapy, all files are now online and digital, so physical therapists can now access patients' files online way more easily than they could on paper. Their history is all up, their doctor's orders, doctor's notices, they're all there for the physical therapist to easily access and see. For education in the engineering department, so I'm going to talk about electricians and plumbers. So for them, they need a high school diploma, and to follow that, they need an apprenticeship, and that normally includes in-class hands-on instructions, and they can also work for freelance corporations or government corporations. To be a general engineer, you need an associate's degree, and then that also follows with an apprenticeship program as well. For physical therapy education, to be a physical therapist, you need a doctoral or professional degree. To be enrolled in a DPT program, which is Doctor of Physical Therapy, which is actually a 3-year program. You need prerequisites like anatomy classes, physiology classes, biology classes, chem and physics classes. And then once you become a certified physical therapist, you need continuing education of 36 hours every 3 years you have your license. For occupational therapists, you need your master's degree, and then you need to be licensed. You also need prerequisites to be accepted into an OT program, so prerequisites like bio and physiology are normally needed. For OT continuing education, you need 30 hours every 2 years that you have your license. For economics and government and engineering, electricians make about $55,000 a year. In total, there's about 715,000 jobs available, and the 10-year projected growth is 10%. So for plumbers, on the other hand, the annual salary is about $53,000, and there is about 500,000 jobs available, and the 10-year projected growth is 14%. For physical therapy, the annual salary is around $88,000 a year. There are about 54,000 jobs available, and the 10-year projected job growth is 21.9% in the next 10 years. Occupational therapists make around $80,000 a year, and there's around 133,000 jobs available currently. And in the next 10 years, this occupation is projected to grow 27%. More connections in the engineering department. So pertaining to myself, my dad is an engineer and he works at General Electric, and over the years I've kind of learned like what he does as an engineer there. Relating to a text that I explored, the website The Hospitalist, I read Systems Engineering in the Hospital, and it talks about how engineers help to run hospitals, and I read that to further explore and learn about the engineering department, how it kind of runs at Ellis Medicine. And relating to the world, I didn't really realize how like behind the scenes and how much work the engineers do and the plumbers and electricians do at Ellis. They basically make sure the whole thing is running and operating smoothly. So connections to the physical therapy rotation that I went on. Relating to myself, I have spent a lot of time in physical therapy. I tore my ACL in April of 2019 during lacrosse season, and for the next like 6-7 months I basically lived at physical therapy. Not really. I was there like 2 or 3 times a week to work on mobility, range of motion, strength, and all those types of things. So I got a lot of idea of how a physical therapist works in my 7 months that I attended physical therapy. Relating to a text that I have explored, prior to ACL surgery, I read the document ACL Reconstruction, A Guide to Recovery After Surgery, and this talks a lot about the physical therapy after surgery and what you need to do to get yourself back to where you're supposed to be. And so I related it to this rotation of physical therapy because it was all about rehabbing my knee. And relating to the world, I kind of realized that as baby boomers are aging, I feel like there are a lot of the population that physical therapists are now treating as they're getting older. So I feel like physical therapy is kind of in a higher demand as that chunk of a generation is getting older and their bones are becoming more fragile and their muscles are becoming more weaker. They're the ones that are normally seen in physical therapy. Like when I attended physical therapy, I was the only young person there. All of them were, like baby boomer generation. For evaluation of the engineering department, again, I didn't really realize how behind the scenes this department was and how crucial their department is into running the whole hospital of Ellis Medicine. The complex plumbing, cooling, and heating systems that go into that job, how large the boilers were. I'm actually considering a job in biomedical engineering, so to see like the engineering aspect of the hospital was kind of interesting. And the electrician that I followed seemed interested in having a student with him, and it was nice to be able to talk to somebody easily and learn a lot from them about, the inner works of the hospital. For evaluation of my physical therapy rotation, I really liked it a lot. What I didn't know is that physical therapists could work in like different departments and specialize, I guess, in different things. Like I thought, I went to outpatient physical therapy, so I thought just physical therapy was just, taking care of those kind of patients who had back issues, knee issues, like any kind of things like that. But I thought when I followed the physical therapist who always worked in the neuro department, I thought that was really interesting because it was just different in how, the physical therapist treated them and looked at them and evaluated them. So I thought that was very interesting. I'm actually thinking about being a physical therapist, as I was in physical therapy for about 7 months and I kind of found an interest in physical therapy, and I also like the sports medicine kind of aspect of it. I'm really interested in sports medicine, so like rehabbing athletes, or I'm actually now thinking of physical therapy and the neuro aspect because I think that's very interesting. So this rotation kind of really opened my eyes to different like areas of work in physical therapy, and I really enjoyed my time.